Hi everyone, hope you all are good. We are here for grade 5 math. You can find all the lessons on aplusstudents.com. There using your email address and password is provided by the administrator. Then you have to select math from the subject tab, down to grade 5 math, and then click on view all lessons. There you can find a list of the chapters. We're going to start with the chapter number 3. The lessons we're going to cover today are prime and composite numbers, prime factorization with exponents and divisibility rules. So please make sure you have your notebook and pencil so that you can note down the important examples and definitions as well. Then I'm on grade 5 math. Let's just start with the first lesson. Prime and composite numbers. Let's just start with the lesson. Is 16 a prime number or a composite number? So the first thing we have to do is we need to learn the prime numbers and the composite numbers. Prime numbers are the numbers that have only one factor, or that have only two factors, one and the number itself. The prime number have only two factors, one and the number itself, and the composite numbers have more than two factors. So 16 is not a prime number because 16 has more than two factors, so 16 is not a prime number. 2 times 8 is 16, 4 times 4 is 16. So prime number has more than two factors, so composite numbers have more than two factors, so 16 is a composite number. Let's just start with the test question. Is 2 a prime number or a composite number? So which is the correct option? So which is the correct option? 2 is a prime number. Option number 1 is the correct option. Prime it is. Is 14 a prime number or a composite number? So 14 have more than two factors, right? 14 divided by 2 is 7. So 14 is a composite number. The correct option is composite. It is. Option number 2 is the correct option. Is 17 a prime number or a composite number? 17 is a prime number because 17 has factors 1 and 17. So 17 is a prime number. Option number 1 is the correct option. Is 8 a prime number? No, 8 is not a prime number. The correct option is 8 is a composite number. Is 9 a prime number or a composite number? Nine is a composite number, not the prime, right? Because 9 has more than two factors, so 9 is a composite number. Is 3 a prime number or a composite number? So 3 is the prime number. Option number 1 is the correct option. Prime it is. Is 12 a prime number or a composite number? Twelve is a composite number. Option number 2 is the correct option. Is 7 a prime number or a composite number? So 7 is a prime number. Option number 1 is the correct option. Is 5 a prime number or a composite number? Seven is the, sorry, 5 is the prime number. Okay, you can complete the lesson by yourself later today. Let me just be on the next lesson. The next lesson is prime factorization. So prime factorization means all the factors must be prime numbers. Let's just start with the test question so that we can do more practice questions. What is the prime factorization of 4? So, how do we find the prime factors? Basically, like here, you have to find the prime factors of 4. So, you have to divide 4 by the smallest prime number. The smallest prime number that can divide 4 is 2. So, 4 divided by 2 is 2. Now, you have to divide this number by the smallest prime number, that is 2. 2 divided by 2 is 1. You have to divide, keep repeat, dividing them by the smallest prime numbers until you have the answer 1. So these are the two prime numbers. 2 times 2. So option number one is the correct option. 2 times 2 is the correct option. What is the prime factorization of 10? So let's just divide 10 by the smallest prime number. Now on Friday we have grade 6, 7, 8. No, sorry, on Friday we have grade 7, 8, 9, and 10. Grade 5 is on Tuesday at 8 and on Thursday at 8 o'clock. Tuesday at 5. 10 divided by 2 is 5. Now you have to divide 5 by the smallest prime number, that is 1 times 5. These are the two numbers that are the prime factors. 5 it is. Option number 1 is the correct option, that is 2 times 5. What is the prime factorization of 15? That is 3 times 5. Option number 2 is the correct option. Option number 2 is the correct option, that is 3 times 5. What is the prime factorization of 6? Which is the correct option? That is 2 times 3. Option number 2 is the correct option. What is the prime factorization of 9? So which is the correct option? That is 3 times 3. Option number 1 is the correct option. 3 times 3 is 9. What is the prime factorization of 4? Which is the correct option? That is 2 times 2 is 4. Option number 2 is the correct option. What is prime factorization of 10? Which is the correct option? That is 2 times 5. Option number 1 is the correct option. Okay, you can complete the lesson by yourself later today. Let me just move on to next lesson. The next lesson is prime factorization with exponents. So let's just start with the lesson. What is the prime factorization of 9? So you have to divide the number with the smallest prime number. So 9 divided by 3 is 3 and 3 divided by 3 is 1. So that is 3 squared. Let's just start with the test questions. What is the prime factorization of 4? So which is the correct option? That is 2 times 2, or you can add it as 2 square. Option number 4 is the correct option. That is 2 square. What is the prime factorization of 6? Two times 3 is 6. Option number 2 is the correct option. That is 2 times 3. What is the prime factorization of 10? That is 2 times 5. Option number 1 is the correct option. 2 times 5 is 10. That is 2 times 2, or you can write it as 2 square. Option number 2 is the correct option. What is the prime factorization of 25? That is 5 times 5 or 5 square. Option number 2 is the correct option. Option number 3 is the correct option. 5 square it is. What is the prime factorization of 9? That is 3 times 3 or 3 square. Option number 3 is the correct option. What is the prime factorization of 15? That is 3 times 5. Option number 3 is the correct option. Okay, you can complete the lesson by yourself till today. Let's just move on to the next lesson. The next lesson is divisibility rules. So basically, we do not actually divide the numbers, the larger numbers. We simply apply some tests and see if the numbers are divisible by the other numbers, right? Let's just look at the example. Is 5,112 is 5,112 divisible by 9? So you have to see if the number is divisible by 9 but without dividing. So you need to apply the divisibility rule. The divisibility rule for every number is different. For 9, you have to sum up all the numbers. If the sum is divisible by 9, that means the number is divisible by 9. So you can see 5 plus 1 plus 1 plus 2 means 9. And 9 divided by 9 equals 1. So that means 5,112 is divisible by 9. Got it? Let's just start with the test questions. Is what 15,928 divisible by 9? So we just learned the divisibility rule for 9, right? That is the sum of all the numbers must be divisible by 9. Sum of all the numbers in a digit must be divisible by 9. 9 and 10, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, 20, 25. 25 is divisible by 9. No. That means 15,928 is not divisible by 9. The correct option is no, that is not divisible. Okay, it's 4,890 divisible by 6. So you need to apply the divisibility rule by 6, right? So the divisibility rule by 6 is the number must be divisible by 2 and it is divisible by 3. So first thing we need to do is apply the divisibility rule by for 2. So if the ones digit of the number is either 0, 2, 4, 6, and 8, that means the number is divisible by 2. So here the ones digit is 0. So that means 4,890 is divisible by 2. Now we need to see if 4,890 is divisible by 3. So the divisibility rule for 3 is sum of all the digits must be divisible by 3, 9 and 8, 17, 18, 19, 20, 21. So 21 is divisible by 3. So the number is divisible by 2 and is divisible by 3. That means the number is divisible by 6. The correct option is yes, that is the divisibility rule for 6. The divisibility rule for 6 is the number must be divisible by 2 and is divisible by 3. So if a number is divisible by 2 and 3, that means the number is divisible by 6. The correct option is 6. Is 957 divisible by 5, which is the correct option? No, that isn't. Why? Because the number is divisible by 5 when the ones digit is either 0 or 5. 957. Here you have 0 or 5. That means the number is divisible by 5. So 957 is not divisible by 5. No. Is 956 divisible by 2? Yes, it is divisible by 2. 956, the one digit is 6. So that means the number is divisible by 2. Yes, it is. Option number 1 is the correct option. That is yes. Is 7,194 divisible by 3? So you need to apply the divisibility rule for 3. The divisibility rule for 3 is the sum of all the numbers is divisible by 3. So the sum of the numbers is 7 plus 1 plus 9 plus 4. I think 21. And yes, 21 is divisible by 3. That means the number is divisible by 3. Yes, it is. You just don't have to think. You have to check. Yes, it is divisible by 3. Is 84,336 divisible by 10? Yes, it is. No, that is not. That no, that is not divisible by 10. Because if the number is divisible by 10, the ones digit must be zero. So the answer is no. Okay, you can complete the lesson by yourself. Due to today, we will discuss this lesson in the next session in detail, right? So we were working on grade 5 math. Chapter we were working on is number theory. The lessons we have covered today are prime and composite numbers, prime factorization, prime factorization with exponents and multivisibility rules. So please make sure before the next session you can complete all the practice questions for the lessons we just did. That is your homework until next session. So if you need more help with any of the lessons, you can simply click on the live chat button to help you, or you can write down your question in the chat box. I'm here to answer all your questions. And no questions. Okay, then that's all for today. See you in the next session. Bye, everyone.